Okay, so we want to know, what tips do you have for developing your artistic voice? Okay, I've got a few tips for you. The first one is to follow your joy. That may seem very obvious. I think it's the most important. I've got a lot of tips. This is probably the most important. What interests and excites you? Drink that in. Find different versions of that and find different approaches to that. Just see what lights your fire, what gets you excited. And this doesn't even have to be something within the world of dance. This could be related to ideas, things that you want to learn, conversations that you find yourself getting very animated during, topics that you have a lot to speak on, poetry that you love to read, shapes that you love to see, colors that you love to see, ways that you enjoy feeling. What makes you feel interested and excited? That is so important to define for yourself. And it's always going to be growing and changing. And that's what keeps creativity a fluid, ever-changing process. And your voice is going to continue to change and morph as you create art as well. Another tip I have for you is to try on the voice of other artists. So do like studies in the voice of a dancer that you love, a writer that you love, a painter that you love, whatever medium you're making art in. It's always useful to try to be another artist with a work that you're making. I remember a performance I did where I had learned like 30 seconds of choreography, maybe 1 minute, from Sadie Marquardt in a workshop. And then the rest of the song was like it was like a 6 or 7 minute long song. And I was just doing this very low key performance. And I was like, oh, I'm going to use the choreography that I learned from Sadie Marquardt. I gave her credit, of course. And I decided I was going to be Sadie Marquardt for the whole song. And it was so fun. And I gave such a good performance. I did things that totally surprised me. I watched the video afterwards. I felt amazing during it. I felt like a rock star. And then I looked at the video afterwards and I was like, where did that come from? I was so proud of what I did. And it was an improvisation. And I'm often challenged by solo improvisation. And that taught me, wow, if you know and appreciate the art of another person, the voice of another artist, then it's really liberating to try on their voice and just say, like, what if I did it like them? What if I wrote a poem like Shelley? What if I did a dance like Rachel Bryce? Like, and always give credit to your influences. Absolutely. Say this is heavily influenced by this dancer, these dancers. I'm like straight up I'm showing my love for this dancer in this piece. So you don't want to pretend like it's yours, but it's very helpful. And then you can see what comes out. What did you enjoy? What do you discover about yourself? What do you like about what happens when you make art in that person's voice? And if you're just starting out in a genre of art, that's probably a necessary first step, or of early steps along the way, is to try on what others have to teach you. The first choreography I ever made when I was 12 years old was a compilation of movements that my first teacher, Dalila Morad, taught me in a class. And I made it after 2 months of classes. I just took every single move that I learned and put it in my own order to dance to the song that I thought was cute. And so it was her stuff. But I was starting to develop my artistic voice in that moment because of what I chose and how I chose to do it and in what order I did it in and what dynamic and energy I gave to it. Okay, so another thing that you want to do in this pursuit of looking for your artistic voice is notice what movements you repeat. And oftentimes we can feel like, oh, we just did the same moves over and over again and not really value that information. But try valuing the information and using it to your benefit and asking, what is it about these movements that I do all the time that I love so much? And there are movements that I did all the time when I was very young that I still do all the time now. If I'm just messing around, my first improv ever is going to definitely include this. I can tell you. It's probably going to include that. It's probably going to include a big hip circle and a one-sided figure eight. There are just certain things I'm going to do. It's just the moves that come out when I first start improvising. And if I try on the voice of another person, surprising moves come out. If I dance to a new piece of music, surprising things come out. And if I keep going past what is the first impulse, then you keep discovering new things. So, trying on the voice of other artists is great, and then you get to a point where you want to actually keep going, go further. Like, you don't know what to do next, just try to come up with something. Go past the first impulse, let it come out, and then what happens after that? What happens after that? What happens after you exhaust yourself on those moves that you like a lot? And also, it's okay to do things that you like a lot. That's how you develop your unique voice. That's how you have a style. So just value what you like to do and be proud of it. On the topic of following your joy, find ideas or themes that fascinate you. So even if you are trying to make dance, it's helpful to know what ideas are you interested in, because maybe you can bring some of those ideas into your dance practice. Like, maybe you're fascinated by space, nature, friendship, death, motherhood, society, romantic love, sexual expression, whatever emotions or ideas or themes that fascinate you, make some art in that vein and see how that feels to you, because that will keep you buoyant throughout your artistic process. And then you want to also know, as far as we were talking about costuming earlier, and how I'm developing my voice in that, what aesthetics do you enjoy? What colors do you like? What shapes of costumes do you like? Do you like flowy skirts? Do you like pants? Do you like things that are more tight-fitting? Do you like sheer things? Do you like feathers? Do you like big? Do you like heavily adorned? Do you like simple? And if you, not what is good and what is bad. That's another great tip, is just as much as possible, do away with the terms good and bad and think about, what do you enjoy? What lights you up? What do you like? It's okay to hone your own style. You're not saying that's good and that's bad. You're saying, I'm drawn to that and I'm not drawn to that. And I don't know why, but these are the things I like. And once you start to gather those things and see them and do them and present them, then they can become more clear to you. And that is what becomes your artistic voice. And I would ask myself two important questions. One is, what do you want people to feel when they see you dance? And maybe you can answer that for yourself generally, and maybe you can answer it according to the piece that you're performing, because maybe you want people to feel differently for different pieces. What do you want people to feel when they see you dance? And also, why did you first start to dance? It's always helpful to remember what was the first thing that got you excited about dance, because it's more information about what it is that you're interested in. Where was your original interest? And it's okay for your interest to change. If you do look back on that impulse and you're like, that's not at all why I'm interested in it now, great. Then you have more information about why you're interested in it now. But a lot of times, looking back deeper into the very start of things, the very beginning seed, can give you a lot of information about what you value as an artist. So I also want to include the wisdom of some of the folks who are here and incorporate the comments from the chat. So up here we have Lacey saying, keep making art. Yes. Imperfect, consistent action beats out perfect inaction every time. And that is the only way to develop your artistic voice, is to continue making art and to complete the artistic cycle over and over and over again. Lorian is saying, take as many different types of dance as you can so you can find what fusions call to you. Yes, take in different art so you can see what calls to you. Go to shows, take the classes, go to the shows, and be a part of jams and informal parties and celebrations and see what calls to you. And Lorian's saying, make peace with your body. For example, I'm thinking that maybe instead of hiding my belly, which is larger and rounder than our culture tends to like, maybe I should try making it a focal point in my dance by incorporating lots of belly rolls, flutters, undulations, and learn coin rolling. Yes. Love that. And then adding to that, Lacey's saying also fighting against that perfectionistic side. I think that producing art and sharing it and just continuing to iterate and create is powerful in itself. Yes, preach. Because eventually you look back and can say, wow, look how much I've created. And I think your voice and style reveal themselves. Yes, I love that. That is such a simple approach and it makes so much sense. Just keep making art. And as you look back at what you've done, your style will reveal itself. Yes. And that's kind of what we did with our costuming exercise where I'm like, there is no official style, but if I really think about what I like and what I would do if I had to put a costume together for a group of people, this is what I would do. And then a style kind of reveals itself. Mary said, look and listen to lots of art. Go to museums, gardens, concerts. Explore the typefaces in your software. Yes. Explore. Love this. Absolutely. Go to museums, gardens, and concerts. I need to go to more museums, gardens, and concerts. I vow in 2023 to do more of that. And Lorian's saying, play games with yourself, like dance to a random song recommended by Pandora or Spotify. Yes. Introduce the unexpected and see what you do. Or pick like 3 moves or shapes and do those the whole song. Yes. Oh my gosh. That will so reveal what you love about those movements. Lacey's saying, yes, setting boundaries while improvising is powerful. Select a rhythm or a shape or a few and combine. Limitation can actually be freeing in improvisation. I agree, because otherwise we get overwhelmed with so many options. And Lorian's saying, don't be afraid to be boring. I love that advice because oh man, just committing to what you enjoy is the most type of healing art I love to witness. I love to see people doing what feels good to them. That is the part that I love to see. Not a million different shapes and a million different dynamics, which can also be cool if that feels good to you. But I want to see somebody genuinely enjoying or having a cathartic experience of some kind in their experience as a dancer. And we've also got Lacey putting the link to Sadie's Instagram. Yes, because I mentioned Sadie Marquardt. So we need to know who she is and how to find her. And Lorian saying, especially since gardens tend to be outside and thus COVID safer. Not only that, but nature is inspiring. I always feel so much better when I go for a walk in nature. So don't underestimate just existing in the natural world to also help you develop your creative voice as well. And Lacey's saying also, even if you don't share with social media, recording yourself can be powerful. Yes, because you can see what you do. You can see, oh, wow, those are the shapes I like to make. That's when I'm really enjoying myself. Excellent. Thank you so much, the two of you, for chiming in with your tips, and also Mary. I hope that's helpful, Jasmine. I want to hear your feedback if you found that to be helpful. I would also love those questions. I'll put those questions in our notes just to do a journal, like a free write. If you were to answer all of those questions, just sit down and answer them all to the best of your ability, what would you discover in this first instance? And then, of course, bring those questions forward into life and see where it leads you. And Lorian's saying, I have a Google Docs journal and a Google Photos journal this year. That is a great idea. So you're making like photo memories as well as writing them down. Yes, vision boards, just taping things you find interesting up to a bulletin board. I think it can be really helpful to visually see what you find interesting. Like just see what colors, shapes, photos, textures you're drawn to, and let them even obliquely, subconsciously influence your art. You don't have to understand on a conscious level exactly how it's all fitting into the art that you're making.